Hello and welcome to day 16 called core and hip flow. So we're just going to be repeating some of the exercises that we've already done. They are good for us to repeat. We can't always be doing something different. We need the bodies to be able to build and get used to exercises. And here we want to focus again, getting that core activation, getting those hips to move and flow and to stretch out those hip flexors a little bit. So let's get started with our normal pelvic curl. Okay, so we're going to lay flat on our backs, feet and knees roughly fist distance apart. This is one of my favoriteest exercises, so I'm happy that we're repeating it in its simplest form with no additional leg movements, just focusing on spinal mobility, glute activation, and opening up those hip flexors while getting that core activated. So, pelvis neutral, ribs connected. We're going to inhale, exhale, draw the belly in. The abdominals are doing the work first. Tuck that tailbone, imprinting the lower back. Then we press lightly into the feet, get the glutes active, deepen that tuck, and start peeling the spine off the floor one vertebra at a time. Keep that deep tuck working into the lower part of the glutes. Keep those ribs nice and engaged, eye line parallel to the thighs. Inhale, exhale, reversing down, concaving the chest. I want you to really take your time in this session to feel yourself moving through each vertebra one at a time. Once your lower back hits the floor, you want to feel that the pelvis and the hips return to neutral. I often see people get a lovely tuck on the rise, but when they lower down, they flatten out too early and it's sort of a hinge down and everything lands together. We really want to get it to work very individually. So let's go again. Inhale, exhale, draw the belly in, tucking the tailbone, getting those legs involved. Keep the pressure on the big toe knuckle to help keep the inner thighs working. Knees should stay aligned. Inhale and exhale to roll down. Now, if you find your knees want to rather buckle in with this exercise, then try keep the pressure more sort of equal around the big toes, the little toes, the outer edge and the heel, so that you keep that alignment going. All right, and let's go again. Inhale, exhale, draw the belly in, imprint, start peeling the spine off the floor, leading with the pubic bone. Knees are softly reaching forward, heels sliding, well, not sliding, but feel like they're trying to pull in towards your sit bones. You're going to feel those hamstrings activate even more. Inhale and exhale, rolling down through the spine, one vertebra at a time. And let's go 3 more. Exhale to initiate and start the exercise. Inhale at the top. And exhale, sinking and rolling down one vertebra at a time, releasing your pelvis to neutral. And again, rising up. And inhale as you exhale. Feel like that spine is slowly lengthening towards the heels as you're rolling down. And let's go last one. Exhale to rise up, inhale, and exhale down. So you get a lot of deep core activation and stabilization through the movement of the spine and holding up at the top. Okay, so from here we're going to go in for our dead bug, but we're going to do the loaded variation. If it's too much, keep the feet on the floor and slide a leg out and slide a leg in, instead of having the legs up at tabletop. So, arms up in front of the shoulders, keep the ribs connected, draw that belly in, keeping everything tight, pelvis neutral, exhale to lift, right leg up to tabletop, tighten those abdominals a little bit more as we lift the left leg up to tabletop. Okay, we are going to load it even more today by extending a leg. So, inhale, right arm overhead, Lengthen that left leg away, and then exhale to bring it all back up to center. And inhale, left arm, right leg. Be careful of letting that lower back arch. Exhale in and keep those ribs down into the mat. And inhale, right arm, left leg. This is super deep core activation. Exhaling up. And we're getting that flexion and extension within that hip joint so we can get those hips to move more cleanly with no snapping. Inhale, lengthen right arm, left leg. Exhale up. You're not placing the limbs on the floor because then the body disengages. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Exhale up. And we want to keep everything on like Donkey Kong. 2 more each way. Inhale and exhale. If you find the inhale is too difficult and disengages the core, exhale on all the movements. So you'll exhale to lengthen, inhale to hold, exhale to draw back in. Last set. Last one. And slowly lower one leg and then the other leg and release there. I felt my core working so hard. So I hope that you felt a little bit of that yourself. Okay, so to finish off, we're going to go in for a lunge stretch. I'm going to take us into a little bit more of a complex variation. We've done a lot of the more simple 90-90 tucking tailbone, little hinge forward. So what I want us to do today, at the end of your mat, come onto all fours. You're then going to take the hands further forward and then bring the right foot up to the outside of the right hand. Now I know not everybody can sweep that foot around, so if you need to get up, place the foot down, come back down, or if you need to creepy crawl, it's fine. Nobody said we had to look elegant getting into the exercise, but we need to try and get there. Okay. So now if this variation is too much for you, please go back to the Captain Morgan variation and just tuck that tailbone. Okay. So from here, I like to be on what I call gorilla knuckles because then I can get my spine nice and straight. If that's too much of a mission for you because you're particularly stiff, you can use yoga blocks or anything really that your hands can just have something to stabilize on that's elevated. From there, gently dropping the hips towards the floor and softly tuck that tailbone again. So in this one, you're not only going to feel a stretch in the front of the left hip flexor, you may get a stretch on the inner thigh on the other leg. It is also opening up the hip flexor on that right side in a different way. So breathing into it for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can gently walk the hands back to bring that knee onto the floor, aligning it with the opposing knee, hands back where they were, and let's bring that left leg up and out. And then from there, finding a height that works for you to keep that spine as straight as possible, and a gentle dropping of the hips and a tucking of the tailbone. Now, I chit-chat to the lot in the other one, so I'm going to count extra time here. So just keep breathing. You want to soften into the stretch. So you're not pushing it to your absolute maximum. You want to find where you're getting a stretch, but one that the body isn't fighting against. When the body fights against the stretch, then things tighten and don't soften, and we're looking to soften. And now that I've had that little spiel, let's go in for another 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Push back and release. And that is day 16, guys. I can't believe it. We're already halfway because there's going to be 30 videos. Oh no, we just passed halfway. Yes. I hope you enjoyed the session. Again, with that dead bug, when we're taking the arm and leg out, find a variation that's not too loaded for you. If those hips are moving, lower back arching, ribs flaring, drop it down. Build that foundation so strong that when you come in to level up, it's easier. You're going to work in the correct places instead of compensations. And as the strength builds, that exercise will then start feeling just as easy. So thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you in the next one.